An exciting morning. It is a beautiful fall morning and a feeling of new beginnings in lots and lots of ways. And I'm excited about our topic this morning, which is Course in Miracles, which is great preparation for whatever is to come and whatever is today. Let's start service today by sharing our statement of oneness, and then that will lead us into our opening prayer. Together, there is one presence and one power in my life and universe, God, the good omnipotence. And now relax in place and take a deep breath in preparation for a prayer. And relax. There is one spirit universally present and energetically moving through unity of Charlotte and each beloved member of our greater community. Spirit moves and inspires our minister, our service, the business of our town hall meeting, and our vibrant participation today. We listen carefully and receive the guidance that Spirit has for us. And we serve this knowledge faithfully as it flows through us. And we move our attention into action. Good and very good result from our service and from our discussions. We are able to communicate effectively and to conduct the spiritual transactions beautifully, gracefully, and harmoniously in accordance with Spirit. We know that all of our affairs, in terms of the sale of the property, go smoothly in divine order, and the outcome serves the prosperity of Unity of Charlotte, and it nurtures the fulfillment of our mission and furthers the spiritual path of each member of our broad community. The cause of serving our congregation is furthered today as we gain greater understanding of the highest possibilities for Unity of Charlotte. The next steps come easily and we move forward gracefully to accomplish what is our sacred next. I am grateful to all as each is an integral part of this powerful prayer, the same prayer that circles the globe and returns to us with love, energizing our spiritual progress for each and for all collectively. I'm filled with joy. I'm filled with joy as I release this prayer with confidence that it is already in the flow. And join with me in saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you again for being with us this bright and beautiful morning. And for those of you that are joining us on Zoom, we had our little talk and connection with a nice group this morning early. And then after service, we're going to move directly to our town hall meeting. So stay connected and stay with us. Listen to the good news that we have and participate in our discussions. Those of you that are joining on YouTube, do subscribe and do like. It helps other people join us. And we look forward to all things in the future here because the future is bright for Unity of Charlotte. If you or anyone around you or a beloved of yours is in need of prayer, please go to our link on the website and click and offer your prayer request. It is our joy and our pleasure to respond to each and every request with prayer, and prayer always works. And for those of you that would like to reach out in addition to Unity prayer, just dial 800 NOW PRAY for a personal affirmative prayer. We have a lot going on today. As you know, we have our town hall meeting going on today. So do stay with us. You'll find out what's going on with the sale of our property and our very exciting news and some details related to how we're proceeding. We have a call out for candidates for the 2021 Unity of Charlotte Board of Trustees. I encourage you, if you have gifts to share in that area, please let Chandan Singh know about your interest, or if you know of somebody in the community that you think would serve well, offer their name. They'll be forever grateful. And actually, I'm forever grateful to be on this board of directors, and I will tell you why. It is the one thing that I absolutely look forward to, knowing that I am connected at the heart and the mind and in the unity principles, coming in to meet with these beloved board members. It is extremely edifying, satisfying, and the connection is an extraordinary one. It is also a pleasure to serve on behalf of this vibrant community, and we have a lot that is evolving right now for the future of Unity of Charlotte. So I wanted you to know why I love serving on the board and why I encourage other people who desire to contribute to a very positive future to also put your name forth. Chandan can be reached at C Singh, that's spelled at C-S-I-N-G-H 2 at gmail.com. Now, even though he may be C Singh 2, he's first in my heart. So we also have some ongoing meetings. We have an affirmative prayer and meditation group, which is so much more than that meets on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., 7:15 p.m. And it sets up prayerful energy for the church community, for our future, and it's facilitated by Barbara Rolfe. The reason I said, and it's so much more, is it's my go-to meeting to set my energy level and my intention and open up my awareness for the week in a new way. I love Sundays and I love Tuesday evenings. So I do encourage you to take just a little bit of time out. And even though you're praying for the greater good of Unity of Charlotte, in every way, it is to serve your needs as well and give you a powerful alignment for your week. On Wednesday mornings, we are still with, and delighted to say, Healing Letters by Myrtle Fillmore. And the chapter that we're on now completely resonates with me about being and handling change and handling things that are new, different, things that are leaving your experience, and things that are coming into your experience. And so, who wouldn't be aligned with that idea of becoming proficient and even better at saying goodbye to the old and welcoming the new? So even if you haven't participated in the group so far, it's a powerful chapter. Join with us at 10:30 on Wednesday mornings. And if you don't have the link, just email Barbara Rolfe or email me. My email is patdrea, P-A-T-D-R-E-A, at gmail.com. We also have a Unity men's group, and I usually don't announce this, and I don't know why. I will tell you, this men's group is very powerful. Now, I haven't been invited to join, and that's probably not going to happen, but I have had a lot of interactions with individuals in this men's group over the last year, and the consciousness is very high. I can tell, because I'm very tuned into male consciousness. And I will tell you, anytime I'm in a meeting with men from the men's group, it is a powerful meeting of hearts and minds and the ability to listen beyond what I've experienced in the everyday world. So men, consider it a warm invitation to be with this wonderful group of men who are very dedicated to a high level of awareness. We also have our Thursday morning Course in Miracles that meets at 9:30 in the morning. And perhaps you'll all be energized after today's talk about the Course in Miracles. And the journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. That is the quote that comes from A Course in Miracles. So among Reverend Jim's many gifts, many gifts, is his ability to articulate and instill a passion for A Course in Miracles. I thank you for that, Reverend Jim, and I welcome you as our speaker today to start us off with the monthly affirmation in gratitude.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you very much. Yes, let me share a screen with you here. And click. An affirmation for November. If you can see it on your screen, please read it along with me. With deep appreciation, I celebrate this day. Each day is a new opportunity to experience gratitude for my Creator's many gifts to me. Looking closely, I recognize the love and care of my Creator expressing itself in all parts of my life. With deep appreciation, I celebrate this day. With deep appreciation, I celebrate this day.
If I'm still on, I'll add a few things.
We've got a couple of people who must have microphones on, so whoever's doing AV might want to address that.
We are.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, whoever's doing AV can handle that. Okay. Anyway, hi, I'm Jim Fuller. I'm delighted to be the guest speaker today. I've got somebody else talking here with their microphone on. So anyway, I'm delighted. As Pat said, I'm going to talk a little bit about A Course in Miracles, which has been an important teaching for me for many years. I'm going to start off, though, with a little song that I found that kind of reflects the essence of what I'm talking about today. And I'll take that into a meditation. And today's meditation will be from the Course in Miracles. I'll be reading a couple little sections. So let me start this beautiful video. A beautiful woman singing her India aria, singing her own song.
I sing this song not to you, but for you, because I know this is the truth of who we all are.
Just take this in.
Take these words in. I am light, I am light. 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 I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dreams I left behind. I am light. I am light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. All light, yeah. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
And so from that place, from that thought, I invite you just to close your eyes if you haven't already done so. Feel the breath move in and through your body as your body and your mind relax and slow. And listen to these words. Listen and try to think if you can remember what the Course speaks of now. Listen, it says, perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state, not quite forgotten, dim perhaps, yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten and the circumstances in which you heard it completely unremembered. Not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody attached not to a person or a place or any particular thing. But you remember just from this little part how lovely was the song and how wonderful the setting where you heard it and how you loved those who were there to listen with you. The notes are nothing, yet you have kept them with you, not for themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember, yet you were afraid, believing you would lose the world you have learned since then. And yet you know that nothing in this world you learned is half so dear as this. Listen and see if you can remember an ancient song you knew so long ago and held more dear than any melody you have taught yourself to cherish since. Beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars and past everything you see, yet somehow familiar, is an arc of golden light that stretches as you look into a great and shining circle. And all the circle fills with light before your eyes, and the light expands to cover everything. What is in it is no longer contained at all. There is no break or limit anywhere. It expands to cover everything, extending itself forever, shining on all. Within it, everything is joined in perfect continuity, nor is it possible to imagine that anything could be outside this light, for there is nowhere the light is not. This is the vision the children of God, the sons and daughters of God, know well. Here is the sight of the one who knows the Father and the memory of what you are. Sit with that for a minute. beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars, past everything we currently see, yet familiar. Light. This is the memory of what you are, what we all are. Breathe into that. Feel that light and that life present in you as you. And perhaps since this is our month when we celebrate Thanksgiving, just a little thought of thank you, God. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, Divine Source, for what we are, what we always have been, and always shall be. And so it is. Amen. So gently come back if you would. Connect with your fingers and toes and your body and your breath. Let your breath get normal again. And welcome back. Well, you know, I am going to talk about A Course in Miracles first. I just want to make one comment. We just had a, what's the polite word for it? An interesting election. An election that, once again, pointed out how deeply divided we are as a nation. The divided states of America, right? An almost 50-50 split. It's been that way for the last number of elections, but this one just kind of reminded me of that. In other words, as a nation, we're almost in complete disagreement. Half not understanding the other half. That's not a great way to function as a nation or as people. And I bring this up because, metaphysically speaking, if we can kind of like get past all of our feelings, those that are really happy and those that are just fearful and maybe upset, if we can get past that, we might understand that what we see happening around us, spiritually speaking, is an outpicturing of what's going on inside us. The divided states of Jim Fuller, looking out and seeing the divided states of America. You know, the part that is dedicated to spiritual growth and the part that sure likes all this physical stuff around him and having things and getting things and doing things. We all have these polarities within us. Our dedications and our little things that keep us stuck. And because we have those, because those are present inside us, they block who we are. They block the higher ideals that are available to us individually and collectively. And so we look out and we see division. We see division. Where we could, I guess, we see division where we could be seeing things like connection, compassion, forgiveness, love. Course in Miracles makes an interesting statement. It says, egos can clash in any situation, yet spirit cannot clash at all. Egos, our imagined ideas of who and what we are, can clash in any situation. We see it happening all the time, everywhere we go. But spirit, what we truly are, has no ability to do that at all. That'll be a hint as to what we're going to talk about. You know, in traditional religion, we talk about going to heaven after this life. You know, maybe we can just fast forward through this life and go to heaven where everything is always like smooth and easy and there's no dissension and there's no whatever. You know, in heaven, there's plenty of everything, no separation, no conflict. In the Bible, Jesus says heaven is at hand. He said that 2,000 years ago. Heaven is at hand. It was there then, it's here now. In the Course in Miracles, Jesus, who is the author or the source for the Course, says, heaven is in you, me. Heaven is in you. Heaven is you. Heaven is you. That's an interesting thought. Toward the end of the Course, the text tells us to remember that the motivation for the Course is the attainment and the keeping of a state of peace. The attainment and the keeping of a state of peace. Given this state, the mind is quiet. And that is the condition in which it says God can be remembered. When the human mind quiets down. It goes on to note, it is not necessary to tell God what to do. God will not fail. So again, like with all spiritual teachings, we're asked, are we interested in giving God a chance to show us what's actually going on? Or are we more interested in, holding on to our perspectives, our sense of self, According to the Course, it is necessary to quiet the mind some first. The Bhagavad Gita, last I talked about a couple times, mentions exactly the same thing. You got to get past the either joyful or fearful, shrieking egos, and as the Bible says, be still and know. Until we do that, we actually don't know anything. And we suffer from the divided state of us, and we seem to live in the divided states of America, the divided nations of the world. That's kind of where I see us right now. Back in the late 80s, Kay and I were becoming more and more committed to our spiritual studies. We've been attending a little kind of New Age church called the Brigade of Light. It used to be out on West Boulevard. And during that time, I got interested in some of the Edgar Cayce teachings. Again, I'd read them before. He had a little set of books called A Search for God. And I thought, that's what I want, a search for God. Unfortunately, nobody was really interested in studying that at the time. A lot of people were interested in A Course in Miracles. Most of them hadn't read it, but they kept talking about it. Eventually, through some coincidences, I ran into a little book about A Course in Miracles that kind of inspired me to read about it. And then, as the universe does, when we actually become focused, the universe led me to my favorite used bookstore. It used to be on South Boulevard, where I found a 3-volume set of A Course in Miracles at a price that I could afford, because my prosperity consciousness stank back then, okay? But I found this 3-volume set. That's how it used to be published. It looked intimidating. I had seen it at a friend's house, and it actually looked intimidating, because back then I was a pretty slow reader. It took Kay and I 3 attempts to make it through reading the material and doing the 365 daily lessons. The text alone has 669 pages, and it's a little dense. The workbook, another almost 500 pages, and a little thin manual for teachers at the back. But eventually, we did make it through. We actually invited people to join us at our home to study on as a weekly study group. That helped keep us focused and motivated to do our daily lessons as well. And so we began working with it, and it began working with us. Because as I'll tell you again a couple times, the Course is actually a tool. It's not a teaching, it is a tool to help shift our minds. As we began working with the Course more and more, we discovered that the little New Age church we were attending really didn't meet our needs. It really didn't speak to us. We wanted something a little more grounded. So we went looking for churches. We had a friend who was also looking for churches, and we had heard about this thing called Unity. So we took our friend to the Unity Church. It was meeting out in Matthews Community Center at that time. We thought he might like it. He didn't, we did. That was the end of our looking, and the beginning of our finding a place that worked very well with the teachings of A Course in Miracles. Unity and Course teachings are highly compatible. You'll find Course groups in many, many Unity churches. A lot of people, though, who have joined our study groups and worked with us have had some difficulty with the course because it has a lot of Bible language, a lot of traditional Bible terms, and that's tough for some people. A lot of people have felt like they've been beat up with the Bible, or the Bible's been used to judge people or exclude people or tell you what's wrong with you. And so that has been a challenge for some people. I think, though, that's part of what the course is around for, is to help us reinterpret, re-understand those Bible teachings from a different perspective. Because as I said, Jesus is the source for the Course of Miracles, the mind of Jesus. And during the course, he clarifies and corrects common mistakes that are made. So when you read the course and you read about God's will and the last judgment and Easter, you're going to get a very different perspective than what you've been taught in traditional religion. Very much more similar to what you would hear from Unity, or even a little more liberal than that. So I often say to people that part of the function of the course, in addition, as it says, to bring us peace and bring us awareness, is to help heal us from some of the unholy ideas that have kind of co-opted the Judeo-Christian tradition over the years. Today, I'm going to share some excerpts and ideas from the course. These are ones that are important to me. If my lovely wife was here, she would be sharing some other ones because there are things that resonate with her in the course differently. If you study the course, you'll find ideas and things that will resonate with you. It is a teaching tool. That's what I've said. You know, I call it a tool, and being a guy, at least in my family, I love tools. All right, it was a hard thing separating me from a lot of the tools that I separated myself from at a couple of points in my life. Because I love to repair things and I love to build things. The course can function in both of those ways, helping repair things that we've learned wrong in the past and helping build things, open up things for the future. But you've got to remember, a tool, a book, is not the goal. The tool is not the goal. The goal is very different. A tool can help us repair, can help us build, right? If it's used carefully and used well. But of course, a tool not used well, not used carefully and mindfully, doesn't do much at all, right? Just kind of creates more stuff. So true of all spiritual tools, true of the course, it's how we use it, it's how we work with it that will make the difference for us. A lot of people I run into have read the title, A Course in Miracles, and they're thinking, wow, magic, I'm going to learn how to do magic. But of course, the word miracles is used in the course doesn't refer to magic at all. It refers to an inner shift, a shift in our awareness or perception, a shift from the very human physical-based perception, what your eyes are showing you and your ears are telling you and what your brain is saying, a shift from that to what it would call a sacred or a spiritual vision, a sacred awareness. That's the vision the Course says will show us that kingdom of heaven that Jesus said was at hand, available to us here, regardless of what our eyes and ears and brains have been telling us. Not at some distant future, but now. So that may sound a little far out, I guess, that we could see something totally different here, but that's kind of what the definition of a miracle is. And a miracle, whether it seems like a little one to you or whether it seems like a big one, is often pretty far out. I mean, it's like, wow, what was that? Or how had I been seeing things differently from that now that I see clearly? It's wonderful, it's healing. At the very beginning of the text, it states, this is a course in miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will doesn't mean you get to establish the curriculum. It only means you can elect to take what you want at any given time. Required course, everyone has to do a course in miracles? Maybe, maybe not. What is required is that we learn the same thing. There's a universal truth that is present. So yes, it's a required course. We don't get to make up what truth is. We can learn about truth anytime we want. or we can choose to wait. I always mention that because at the very back of the book, in the Manual for Teachers, it says this is one of thousands of forms of a universal course. One of thousands of forms. In other words, we're all going to get it. We're all going to get it. It goes on to say a couple things about itself. I'll just share one here. It says this is not a course in philosophical speculation. It's not concerned with precise terminology. It's concerned only with what it calls atonement, or you can read it at-one-ment. At-one-ment, the oneness of all creation. The means of finding this at-one-ment, it says, is forgiveness. Yeah, this is Jesus talking. Is forgiveness. The structure of our individual consciousness, our individual thoughts, is not what we're looking at. This was, of course, heard by a psychologist, so you get a lot of this kind of content. In fact, the process is to overlook what you think is you to find it. It says that all terminology can be controversial. Those who seek controversy, they'll find it. Those who seek clarification, they'll find it as well. They must, however, be willing to overlook controversies. That's an interesting one for us right now in this country, isn't it? Or in studying the course or any other teaching. Are we willing to look past the controversies to the truth underlying? It comments that, theological considerations, all this religious stuff that people get caught up in, depend on belief and can therefore be believed or not. So it comments, and I love this comment, a universal theology is not possible. How about that? Everyone thinks their religion's going to take over. A universal theology is not possible, but a universal experience is not only possible, but necessary. A universal shared experience is not only possible, but necessary. It is this experience toward which the course is directed. It says with the experience, consistency becomes possible because uncertainty ends. One of the central concepts and ideas brought over again and again in the course is that we're misperceiving ourselves. We're misperceiving our brothers. It uses Christian terms, so everything is masculine in it because it's working to undo the old Christian teaching. We misperceive our brothers and sisters in our world. The course refers to this repeatedly as illusion or dream, like the Bhagavad Gita did, like many of the Buddhist teachings do, like many other mystical teachings do. It describes our problem as this. It doesn't talk about the fall. There is no fall. There is no original sin. There is, however, the original forgetting to laugh. There is, however, the original forgetting to laugh. It says, into eternity, where all is one, where all is one. There was a tiny mad idea, a little crazy thought at which we forgot to laugh. And in forgetting to laugh, did this thought become a serious idea, possible of both accomplishment and real effects? What was that crazy idea that we forgot to laugh at? Well, the tiny mad idea was that there could be both God and something else. God and not God. Should have been laughable, might still be good to laugh. So what might something else or not God look like? Well, let's see. God is very powerful. So not God or something else would have to be very weak and vulnerable, right? God is eternal, timeless. Oh, not God would have to be temporary, right? Very, very temporary, short lifetimes. God is constant, loving. Oh, well, not God. Something else would have to be temperamental. Certainly couldn't be loving. Crazy idea. Crazy idea held in mind, shared with other minds. That's what the Course says we're experiencing. An idea that we forgot to laugh at, a laughable idea. We experience this as what the Course calls egos. Egos. Egos are not something real, personality. I often joke, this is the story of Jim. This is my story of Jim, which I know is not who and what I am. All right, even though I'm a bit attached to it, and that's what I work on. Egos are not something real. They're imagined ideas of something else other than God, other than divinity. The Course goes on to state that, and this is a little different from what you find in the Bible and traditional Christianity. It says God didn't make the body. Bodies are destructible. Bodies are temporary, not of God. The body is a symbol of what you think you are, it says. Your body is a symbol of what you think you are. Again, our minds producing illusions or delusions of something else. Modern quantum physics will tell you that what you're looking at here on the screen is 99% empty space and a teeny bit of energy. There's actually nothing solid here. Nothing solid on that screen in front of you either. But because our minds have made up something, we experience and see it that way. It reminds us, the Course reminds us continuously, that we live only in dreams, while all the time safe at home. All the time safe at home. That's why Jesus was able to say, heaven is at hand. That's why the Course says, heaven is you. We're there. Dreaming something else. That's why the Course reminds us there is no death. It tells us that Jesus in the Course tells us that part of his great teaching at Easter, his great demonstration, was that there is no death. There is no death. Now, of course, absence of death also means that we can't just do the old human thing of saying, well, life is tough. I know I want to get to heaven, so I'm just going to kind of bide my time and then I'll be a good boy. And then I'll die and I'll go to heaven and I won't have to deal with all this anymore. Well, the Course reminds us that what we're seeing is in our minds. It's in our thoughts. It's not a thing. It's just a thought. It's laughable, but it's a thought. And the thoughts and those thoughts go with us wherever we go, as long as we're identified with them. So you can't just kind of wait out your time and magically pop out into somewhere else and stay there. But it does go on to say that when your body and your ego and your dreams are all gone, now that's a big stretch there, right? When your body and your ego and your dreams are all gone, it says you will know that you will last forever. You will know that you will last forever. Because all the things that are not you will be gone. Body, ego, dreams. It says you might think it's accomplished by death, but nothing is accomplished through death. Death is nothing. Everything is accomplished through life. Life is of the mind and in the mind. See how unity and the Course tie in there? The body neither lives nor dies, it says, because it can't contain the life that you are. And Jesus goes on to say, if we, Jesus and us, share the same mind, you can overcome death because I did. Death is simply an attempt to resolve a conflict by not deciding at all. And like any other impossible solution that our ego, little human thinking comes up with, it will not work. The Course repeatedly talks about dreams and illusions. There's a longer section I'd like to read to you. I'll kind of summarize it. It's titled The Hero of the Dream, hero in quotation marks, the hero of the dream. Keep in mind that this is not about bodies. It says the body is a central figure in the dreaming of the world. You know how you always see bodies in your dreams or sense bodies? Well, same thing here. It's the central figure in the dreaming of the world. There's no dream without it, nor does it exist in the dream, nor does it seem to exist without the dream, where it acts as if it was actually a person to be seen and believed, right? It talks about the fact that we see these bodies, we do everything we can to take care of them. We get a little time to enjoy them, and then we believe that, then they decay and go apart and get mixed with the dust from other bodies. We try to make sure we have as much pleasure and avoid as much pain as possible during this lifetime, because that's the body, that's who and what we are, that's our identification. It'd be sort of like me identifying with my shirt. That's not who I am either. Neither is this. The dreaming of the world takes many forms because the body seeks many ways to prove that it exists and is real. It puts things on it that it's bought with little discs of metal and strips of paper, the Course says, that it tosses away also on useless things. It looks about it for special bodies that can share its dream with it. Sometimes it dreams it's a conqueror of other bodies, weaker than itself, but in other phases of the dream, it's a slave to bodies that would hurt or torture it. I love this line from the Course. The body's serial adventures from the time of birth to dying are the theme of every dream that the world has ever had. The body's serial adventures from birth to death are the theme of every dream. And the hero of the dream never changes. It's always the body. The Course reminds us, though, that just like in our nighttime dreams, we know that we're dreaming all the people and things we see there. It reminds us that in our daytime dreams, we're dreaming. We are projecting all the people and things we see there, at least the way we see them, right? So we seem to wander idly in and out of places where things happen to us, to our body, to our body, to our body. Who would react to the figures in a dream as if they were real unless he thought they were? So the question is, how willing, and this is what the Course asks continuously, how willing are we to escape all the effects of the dream? To let go of our attachment to the dream we've been dreaming, individually, collectively? Is it our wish to let no dream appear to cause us to do what we want, what it wants us to do? That's part of the teaching of the Course. It's of course, a very large teaching, so it's going to take a lot more than what I could share here to share it. But it does remind us that we, as the Bible would say, we live by symbols. We've made up names for everything you see. God asked Adam to make up a name, and it says whatever Adam says it is, that's what it is for him, right? We each make up egos and personalities for ourselves. We also make up egos and personalities for all the people we see around us. That's why you and somebody else can look at a third person and say, oh, I really like him, he's wonderful. And the other person says, oh, that's a terrible person, I'm so confused. We're making it up. We imagine bodies and other forms. It says you have made up names for everything you see. Each one to you becomes a separate entity, identified by its own name, whatever you've said it is. By this, you carve it out of unity, out of the oneness of creation. And of course, the goal of the Course is to help us see that oneness and experience this. You see something where nothing is, it says. You see things where nothing is. And see as well nothing where there is this whole unity, where there is this whole completeness. That's the reminder that, as the Course says, we travel in dreams, while all the while safe at home. So it reminds us that, spiritually speaking, at the highest level of spiritual consciousness, the journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. It's just the reawakening. It's a journey without distance to a goal that has never changed. It follows that by saying, reminding us again, truth can only be experienced. It can't be described. It can't be explained. You can't learn it from a book. The Course is a tool for moving us to that experience, that universal experience. If any of you become interested in working with the course, I'll just remind you that in the current books, there is a thin section at the back called the Manual for Teachers, Clarification of Terms. It's only 91 pages. It's thin. I encourage you to read that first. It'll help you get the rest of it into frame of reference. The text is long. Read it slowly, a page or two at a time will do it. That's a lot to take in. And do those 365 workbook lessons as soon as you can. Some of them aren't going to make a lot of sense to you at first. But the lessons are probably the core part of the course because they're the part that actually puts you through sequential exercises to help you open up your perception. Open up your spiritual perception, not just your eyes and ears and your thinking brain, but your spiritual perception. At some point, you're probably going to want to find a study group to read and share with, all right, like the group at Unity or some of the groups we run. But remember to keep doing your daily readings and daily lessons as well. You know, undoing a lifetime or maybe many lifetimes of disoriented, upside down perceptual thinking, human thinking, is going to take some work. It took Kay and I several years, several tries just to make it through the whole thing once. But each subsequent time we've gone through it, we've gotten more and more. We discover stuff. It's like, how could I have been studying this for so many years and never have seen that? Because your mind opens up to the awareness and you can. If you do the courses as a success, you will notice small, sometimes big, miracles, shifts in your life. They will gradually make it clear to you that there really is an underlying reality behind all these human and ego perceptions we suffer with. The experiences are both wonderful, sometimes a little startling, but always, always very healing, always very loving. So at this point, I've talked about as long as I can on this day. Glad to talk with people later. At this point, I always have a little affirmation. So I'm going to share an affirmation for course-related affirmation. There we go. A little reflection on the course. A reminder, I am as God created me. I am God's perfect creation eternally. So just take a moment, take a breath. Let's say that together twice. I am as God created me. I am God's perfect creation eternally. And again, I am as God created me. I am God's perfect creation eternally. Take a breath, let that settle in. No matter what we think has happened, no matter what we think we've done or has been done to us, what we are in truth does not change. We are as God created us. We are God's perfect creations right now, living in the mind of God, living in the mind of God. And from that perspective, a whole new world opens up before us. Heaven, if you would. Take a breath and let that settle. Open your eyes. Share that affirmation with me together one more time. Together. I am as God created me. I am God's perfect creation eternally. And so it is. Amen. Well, that's a very quick pass through a very thick book. A useful tool if you choose to use that particular tool. Glad to help you if you choose to do that. Well, knowing that we have a town meeting coming up, I want to move us on forward fairly quickly here to our time of offering. We have an opportunity to share in offerings with this ministry to keep Unity of Charlotte strong. I will invite you to grab your phone or your checkbook or whatever you're going to use. You can send your offering checks or whatever to Unity of Charlotte at 401 East Arrowwood Road. Or you can do the very simple thing of taking your phone, going to unityofcharlotte.org and clicking on the donate button. That is really the easiest way, and you'll get an immediate email acknowledging your donation. The website is safe and secure. Everything is good. And so I encourage you to please keep doing that. Please keep doing that. Not only does it bless the church, but if you give with a sense of love and gratitude, it's going to bless you too. It always does. So let's share our prosperity blessing together. It's up on the screen now. Together we say, joyously I give this gift, knowing the divine presence blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give and all that I receive. Thank you, God. So it is. I'm going to go ahead and roll us forward to our closing prayer of protection, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Pat Dre and whoever else is there at the church that's going to lead us into our town meeting. So if you're at a place where there is someone beside you whose hand you're comfortable holding, go ahead and do that. If not, reach out and take the hand of the angel or the divine being beside you. They are always there. Feel yourself connected with that oneness that is present everywhere, that we are learning to remember. Know that you are loved and supported by that oneness. And together we say, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.